I don't want to set the world on fire.
Except you do.
I just want to follow your heart.
I think you want to set the world on fire.
No, but I'm gonna set a fucking spur bank on fire. They know what they did.
What? Excuse me?
Welcome to Haunts, Graves, and Omens.
Welcome.
My name is Fred Stewart, and with me as always is my lovely co-host Tay.
Hi.
Hello, Tay.
Hello.
How are you?
Tired, but I'm good.
Me too. I took a nice little nap, a little napski. It was very chill.
I napped for half an hour.
Yeah, it was great. It was very cozy. Now I got up and I'm drinking some of this beautiful Rose City Distilling gin. Please sponsor us. It's very good. And with us running camera and some sound is Marty Cowick.
God damn it. This is like the third time in the past month that Marty's just not existed.
Yeah, so Marty's not here. If you can't tell, again, he's quit
What
the
do you
show.
mean if you can't tell?
Yeah.
That literally looks like Marty.
Well, I don't think so. But Marty's not here right now. He's been very busy this month. He's got a lot going. He's had a lot going on the past, month or so. But he is doing something very exciting that he is going to include in the show. I think he's probably already doing it by now.
Probably.
But he's doing a little HGO field trip. And we were gonna go, but then I was like, "Oh, dude, what if I just fucking sleep all day? That sounds way cooler." Yeah, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, man, I don't know. I don't really got any more true crime news. OJ is back.
Isn't he on TikTok too?
I don't know if he's on TikTok, but he's definitely on Twitter.
I'm pretty sure OJ Simpson is on TikTok.
I hope so.
Am I the only one getting OJ Simpson videos?
I need to start looking, I guess. But he is pretty funny because like you ever heard the Murdoch case that's going on? The guy like supposedly allegedly killed his wife and his son. And he was like in high society in like South Carolina or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And Richard Murdoch, whatever his name is. And OJ went on his Twitter and was like, I don't understand why people keep asking me questions about the Murdoch case as that was a murder case. And it's like,
I wonder why.
I don't know why. That's really weird. And then he's like, I don't know nothing. I haven't read nothing. I was just arrested for robbery or an assault, as he calls it. I was arrested for assault. And then, like 2 days later, he posts a video and he goes, so I've been talking to a friend about the Murdoch case. Oh, OJ, you little goofball. Little rascal.
Little rascal?
You little rascal.
I don't think that's quite exactly what he is, but you know what? That's okay.
He's a little rascal. So it's just us again this week. We're here. Marty's an ostrich.
Mm-hmm.
And Taylor's autistic, and that's okay. That's the dynamic of the show. And I'm drinking, but don't worry, it's not 6 a.m. where you are or whatever. It's 5 p.m. here. Mm-hmm. What?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not. I can quit whatever I want. Anyway,
this is the first drink he's had all day, so it's fine.
That you know of.
You've literally been asleep, and I've been right next to you.
Sure, that was me.
I'm fairly fucking sure.
I don't know. I guess only time will tell. Now, won't it? Taylor, what are we covering this week?
So we are covering the haunting of 657 Boulevard, which is also known as the Watcher case.
Hell yeah. Taylor was like, because I expected to go to band practice and stuff this week, and we didn't because of some stuff that was going on. And so I had Taylor write an episode, and she's like, what should I write about? And I was like, you remember the Watcher? And she was like, oh yeah, that sounds kind of cool. And it was snowballing. So now we're here.
I originally had another plan, which will probably honestly be next week's episode. Because I was going to do a combination because they both involved letters.
Letters.
the whole Blue's Clues thing.
It's Kill. Spell it. Spell it.
But since I was working on this, it got really long, and I decided to just talk about this one, and we'll talk about the next one next week. I think that'll be a good connection.
I guess. I don't see how these cases are related.
They both involve letters. That's literally it.
I don't think any case involves letters. You gotta have letters. You gotta have letters.
No, like written letters. No. No. I can't explain it without you like just fucking undermining me.
Anyway, let's talk about your fun little letters. Let's start with probably the most well-known one, which is A. And come on, man.
I'm being bullied.
Well, what's new? Marty, what do you think?
His favorite letter is B.
Favorite letter's O for ostrich. Favorite letter's B for Barty Bowick. All right. That's not that funny. Let's just get into the episode.
Okay.
I'm ready to get into it.
Okay. That fucking got me. All right. So one night in June of 2014, so this is actually a fairly recent case. Mm-hmm. Derek Broaddus had just finished an evening of painting at his new home in Westfield, New Jersey, when he went outside to check the mail. Derek and his wife Maria had closed on a 6-bedroom house at 657 Boulevard 3 days earlier and were doing some renovations before they moved in. So there wasn't much mail except a few bills in a white card-shaped envelope. It was addressed in thick, clunky handwriting to, quote, the new owner. And the typed note inside began warmly.
May I? Mm-hmm. May I be the voice?
Sure.
Dearest new neighbor of 657 Boulevard, allow me to welcome you to the neighborhood.
So for the Broadduses, buying 657 Boulevard had fulfilled a dream. Maria was raised in Westfield, and the house was a few blocks from her childhood home. Derek grew up in working class in Maine, then moved his way up the ladder at an insurance company in Manhattan to become senior vice president with a salary large enough to afford the $1.3 million home. The Broadduses had bought 657 Boulevard just after Derek celebrated his 40th birthday, and their 3 kids were already debating which of the house's fireplaces Santa Claus would use.
That's pretty cute.
That's pretty cute.
It's like Santa doesn't exist, you little shits.
But as Derek kept reading the letter, as I am certainly not doing, I can't read, from his new neighbor, it took a turn.
How did you end up here?
The writer asked.
Did 657 Boulevard call to you with its force within? 657 Boulevard has been the subject of my family for decades, as it approaches its 110th birthday. I've been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming. My grandfather watched the house in the 1920s. My father watched in the 1960s. It is now my time. Do you know the history of the house? Do you know what lies within the walls of 657 Boulevard? Why are you here? I will find out.
That's okay. Terrifying start to the letter. Personally.
Yeah.
You just move in and this guy's like, I'm watching.
Do you like jazz? Would you like to come over and have a nice meal of spaghetti on toast?
So the author's reconnaissance had already begun. The letter identified the Broadduses' Honda minivan as well as the workers renovating the home.
I see already that you have flooded 657 Boulevard with contractors so that you can destroy the house as it was supposed to be. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Bad move. You don't want to make 657 Boulevard unhappy.
So earlier in the week, Derek and Maria had gone to the house and chatted with their new neighbors while their children, who were 5, 8, and 10, ran around the backyard with several kids from the neighborhood. The letter writer seemed to have noticed that.
You have children. I have seen them. Waiting for Taylor to sneeze.
It's gone.
So far, I think that there are 3 that I have counted. The anonymous correspondent wrote before asking if there were, quote, more on the way. Do you need to fill the house with young blood, as I requested? Better for me. Was your old house too small for the growing family, or was agreed to bring me your children? Once I know their names, I will call to them and draw them to me. You can read that next one.
Yeah. I mean, I just figured you were just going to keep going.
Okay. The envelope had no return address. Who am I? There are hundreds, said the person wrote, there are hundreds and hundreds of cars that drive past 657 Boulevard each day. Maybe I am in one. Look at the windows and you can see from 657 Boulevard. Maybe I'm in one. Look at the mini windows of 657 Boulevard and all the people who stroll by each day. Maybe I am one. The letter concluded with the suggestion that this message would not be the last. Welcome, my friends, welcome. Let the party begin. Followed by the signature type of cursive font, the Watcher.
So, it was after 10 p.m. and Derek Broaddus was alone. He raced around the house, turning off lights so no one could see inside, and then he called the Westfield Police Department. An officer came to his house, read the letter, and said, "What the fuck is this?"
That's such a cop way of doing it.
What the fuck?
Well, he just comes up and he's like, "Oh, I heard you got a stalker or something like that," and "Yeah, man, I'm not quite sure, sir. It's weird letter." And he reads it and he's like, "Oh, okay. What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, basically.
What is this? It's part of my new book. No, fucker, it's a fucking, I don't know, it's a letter. You tell me.
You fucking tell me what it is. Yeah. So he asked Derek if he had any enemies and recommended moving a piece of construction equipment from the back porch, just in case the Watcher tried to toss it through a window. Derek rushed his wife and kids, who were living at their old home elsewhere in Westfield, or he rushed back to his wife and kids, who were at their old home. That night, Derek and Maria wrote an email to John and Andrea Woods, the couple who sold them 657 Boulevard, to ask if they had any idea who the Watcher might be or why he or she had written, quote, "I asked the Woods to bring me young blood, and it looks like they listened," is apparently what the Watcher had said in one of the notes.
Yes.
So Andrea Woods replied the next morning. After a few days before moving out, the Woodses had received a similar letter from the Watcher. The note had been odd, she said, but she also made similar mention of the Watcher's family observing the house over time. But Andrea said she and her husband never received anything like that in their 23 years in the house, and had thrown the letter away without much thought. Which, I'm sorry, you get a random fucking spooky ass letter and you're like, huh.
Yeah, let's see. Gotta go. Oh, threatening letter. Better throw that in the trash.
Of course, yes.
What the fuck are we talking about?
Why? So that day, the Woodses went with Maria to the police station, where Detective Leonard Lugo told her not to tell anyone about the letters, including her new neighbors, most of whom she had never met, and all of whom were now suspects. The Broadduses spent the coming weeks on high alert. Derek canceled the work trip, and whenever Maria took the kids to their new house, she would yell their names if they wandered into a corner of the yard. When Derek gave a tour of the renovation to a couple on the block, he froze when the wife said, "It'll be nice to have some young blood in the neighborhood."
Oh my God, fucking A, bro.
bad thing to
Just
say.
grab it like, what do you mean? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Tell me.
The Broaddus's general contractor arrived one morning to find that a heavy sign that he'd hammered into the front yard had been ripped out overnight. And 2 weeks after the letter arrived, Maria stopped by the house to look at some paint samples and check the mail. She recognized the thick black lettering on a card-shaped envelope and called the police.
And that note said something like this. This is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. It says, welcome again to your new home at 657 Boulevard. The workers have been busy, and I have been watching you unload carfuls of your personal belongings. The dumpster is a nice touch. Have they found what is in the walls yet? In time, they will.
That is so terrifying.
Maybe they can find my Chuck E. Cheese tokens that I left inside the walls. I'd really like one of those cool little, those are like rubber poppers. You flip it upside down, it jumps.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to get one of those.
I don't think...
Please find my Chuck E. Cheese tokens.
I don't think you have to go to...
Free the children.
Excuse me?
Free the children.
What children?
I will need those Chuck E. Cheese tokens.
So this time the watcher had addressed Derek and Maria directly, misspelling their names as Mr. and Mrs. Broaddus. And that raised a couple questions, such as, had the watcher been close enough to hear one of the Broaddus's contractors addressing them? The watcher boasted of having learned a lot about the family in the preceding weeks, especially about their children. The letter identified the Broaddus's 3 kids by birth order and by their nicknames.
Oh my God.
The ones that Maria had been yelling.
I am pleased to know your children's names now, and the name of the young blood you have brought me. You certainly said their names often.
So the letter also asked about one child in particular, whom the writer had seen using an easel inside an enclosed porch.
Is she the artist of the family?
And then the letter continued.
657 Boulevard is anxious for you to move in. It has been years and years since young blood has ruled the hallways of the house. Have you found all the secrets it holds yet? Will the young blood play in the basement? Or are they too afraid to go down there alone? I would be very afraid if I was them. It is far away from the rest of the house. If you were upstairs, you would never hear them scream. Why will they sleep in the attic? Or will you all sleep on the second floor? Who has the bedrooms facing the street? I'll know as soon as you move in. It'll help me to know who is in which bedroom. Then I can plan better. All of the windows and doors on 657 Boulevard allow me to watch you and track you as you move through the house. Who am I? I am the Watcher, and I have been in control of 657 Boulevard for the better part of 2 decades now. The Woods family turned it over to you. It was their time to move on, and kindly sold it when I asked them to. I pass by many times a day. 657 Boulevard is my job, my life, my obsession, and now you are too, Broaddus family. Welcome to the product of your greed. Greed is what you brought greed is what brought the past 3 families to 657 Boulevard, and now has brought you to me. Have a happy moving in day. You know, I will be watching.
That's such a piece of shit. Like, have a happy moving in day. As I fucking watch you.
Maybe you could come over and have a nice barbecue. Except it'll be at your home, and then I won't come. I'll watch from a distance if that's fine with you. I'm not really a social type. I like to watch. Marty Kellogg.
Ooh. So Derek and Maria stopped bringing their kids to the house. They were no longer sure when or if they would even move in. Several weeks later, a third letter arrived.
Oh my gosh. All right. Excuse me. Where have you gone to? The watcher wrote. 657 Boulevard is missing you.
So many Westfield residents compared their town to Mayberry, the idyllic setting for the Andy Griffith Show. The kind of place where a new neighbor might greet you with a welcoming note. Westfield is about 45 minutes from New York and a bit too slow for singles, meaning the town's 30,000 residents are largely well-to-do families. It was at one point ranked the 99th richest city in America.
Oh my God.
So, it's pretty good. It's pretty up there.
But only the 18th wealthiest in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I forgot this was in New Jersey because I totally would have changed the voice of the watcher and been like, I'm fucking watching you, all right? Yeah. Sorry, my comedic skills aren't the best. I literally woke up like 20 minutes ago.
So in 2014, when the watcher struck, the website Neighborhood Scout named it the country's 30th safest town.
Oh, shit.
So it was considered a pretty safe area. It wasn't very like sketchy. Mm-hmm. It wasn't Gary, Indiana, for example.
Very Gary, Indiana-esque.
So the most pressing local issue as of late, according to residents, have been the temporary closure of a Trader Joe's after a roof collapse.
Oh, shit. Not the Trader Joe's.
And the rampant scourge of, quote, unconstitutional policing, by which they mean aggressive parking enforcement. In case you're curious, Westfield is 86% white, so I feel like it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and they're like, the police are the worst. And meanwhile, cities where like police are actively like hunting minorities and being super awful, you know. But these fuckers in New Jersey, they're like, it's the worst.
Meanwhile, it's just aggressive parking enforcement.
Meanwhile, other places on the West Coast are known for being like some of the most racist cities in America.
Yep.
Yeah. Whatever.
So one activity all locals recognize as treacherous is trying to buy a house. Quote, there's a lot of money and a lot of ego. One resident who requested anonymity before discussing the Westfield real estate. Quote, I've seen some bidding wars where friends lost by $30,000. The Broaddus' house was on the Boulevard, which is a wide tree-lined street with some of the most desirable homes in the town. Just as the watcher had noted, the Boulevard used to be the street to live on. You made it if you lived on the Boulevard. Like, It's a very well-to-do house. So a little bit about the house is that it was built in 1905. 657 Boulevard was perhaps the grandest home on the block, and when the Woodses put it on the market, they had received multiple offers above their asking price. That led the Broadduses to initially suspect that the watcher might be someone upset over losing out on the house, but the Woodses said one interested buyer backed out after a bad medical diagnosis, while another had already found a different home. In an email to the Broadduses, Andrea Wood proposed another theory. Would the mention of the contractor trucks and your children suggest that it was someone in the neighborhood? The letters did indicate proximity. They had been processed in Kearney, the U.S. Postal Service distribution center in northern New Jersey. The first was postmarked for June 4th before the sale was public, and the Woodses had never even gotten to put up a for sale sign.
Oh, weird.
It fucking just like that. Instantly sold. And that was only a day after the contractors arrived that the first letter had been postmarked. The renovations were mostly interior, and people who live nearby say that they didn't notice an unusual commotion. Even the jackhammering in the basement, no one really noticed it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they were outside like, I don't know what you do outside that's loud.
Masturbate.
That's loud.
Sometimes. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. Literally.
So,
What?
they're about to get me. They got me pretty good. When Derek and Maria walked Detective Lugo around the house, they showed him that the easel on the porch was hidden from the street by vegetation, making it difficult to see unless someone was behind their house or right next door.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing about this case that we'll go further on. That it kind of makes sense that they're very close, very very close, or
close.
they got like tunnels and shit.
Oh, tunnels.
I don't know. Just saying.
I mean, that's true. They might. A few days after the first letter, Derek and Maria went to a barbecue across the street, welcoming them and another new homeowner to the block. The Broadduses hadn't told anyone about the Watcher as the police had instructed, but found themselves scanning the party for clues while keeping tabs on their kids, who ran through the crowd that made up much of the suspect pool. Quote, "We kept screaming at them to stay close. People must have thought we were crazy."
Yeah, probably. They're like, "Come on, let's go play tag." And they're like, "Get over here!
Get back here!
Get back here!" It's like, Jesus, lady, there's nowhere to go. Listen, Barada says, I would like to introduce you. Listen, it's so nice to have you in the neighborhood. It's so happy to. I just want to introduce you to the new neighbor who lives directly north. His name is the Watcher. John Watcher.
Oh.
He's blind, which is kind of ironic.
Okay.
Lives alone.
Oh. Are we sure he's blind?
Let me see. Yeah, no, it looks pretty fucking blind to me. Meanwhile, I was just like,
huh?
Huh?
What happened?
Huh? I gotta get the reflections of my glasses. Huh? Oh, what? Huh? Yeah.
So
The audio listeners are like, "What the fuck are you guys talking about?" It was dead air for a couple seconds. It's fine.
So at one point, Derek was chatting with John Schmidt, who lived 2 doors down.
John Jacob
Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Oh shit. Okay, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah,
but I just want to make sure. His name is my name too.
Oh.
His name is my name, Marty.
That's actually Barty.
Barty Bowick.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna change Marty's name in my phone to that.
Here, you just keep talking.
He's not gonna have any. He's not gonna have any like clue as to why.
Just continue talking.
Yeah.
Visual listeners, you get to experience this.
So I'm just gonna keep reading while you do that. Peggy Langford, John Schmidt had told them about the Langfords who lived between them. Peggy Langford was in her 90s. Several of her adult children, all in their 60s, lived with her. The family was a bit odd, Schmidt said, but harmless. He described one of the younger Langfords, Michael, who didn't work and had a beard like Ernest Hemingway, as, quote, kind of a Boo Radley character.
Okay.
Derek thought the case at that point was solved. The Langford house was right next to the easel on the porch. Family had lived there since the 1960s. When the Watcher's father, the letters had said, had begun to observe 657 Boulevard. Richard Langford, the family patriarch, had died 12 years earlier, and the current Watcher claimed to have been on the job for the better part of 2 decades. So, it kind of does add up a little bit.
Does add up a little bit. It is a little suspicious.
Oh, suspicious.
Barty Bowick.
So when the Broadduses told Lugo about the family, he said he already knew. In a week after the first letter arrived, he brought Michael Langford to police headquarters for an interview. Michael denied knowing anything about the letters, but the Broadduses said that Lugo told them that, quote, the narrative of what he said matched things mentioned in the letters. Quote, this isn't CSI Westfield.
This isn't CSI Westfield.
When the wife is dead, it's the husband. Like, great. Thank you, Lugo, for your very lovely.
Want to see a magic trick? Watch this. Oh, we fine.
Oh.
Look at that. Isn't that cool?
Wow.
Pretty neat, huh?
Pretty neato bandito.
CSI Westfield.
So there wasn't much hard evidence, and after a few weeks, the police chief told the Broadduses that short of an admission, there wasn't much the police department could do. Surprise, there's not a lot that they can do.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, why would we spend hard-earned police time on this when we could just give people parking tickets and white people can complain about them? Old Susan down the street is like, they're being harassing me. They've been harassing me. You know, they're like, you parking in front of a fire hydrant, you old bitch.
I mean, I don't know. Who's surprised that the police are like, I think we should focus our efforts on something elsewhere. Like that dog over there that just jaywalked. I think we should go arrest him.
Westfield police shot and killed this dog for jaywalking. Top story at 10 o'clock.
like I don't know. You probably could have put like a little bit of oomph in it.
Yeah. And police chief Lugo said that this dog was jaywalking off of 7th Avenue when officers approached. He then turned around, wagged his tail, and officers took it as a threat. Those officers are now put on unpaid administrative leave, and they are part of the, quote, feline division. They are 2 armed cats. I don't know.
Weird.
Super weird. While you're looking up that, while you continue talking, I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna look up what the crime rate is in Westfield, New Jersey.
Okay. It's probably not very high considering it was a very safe city. Quote, there is someone who threatened my kids and the police are saying probably nothing's gonna happen. Probably isn't good enough for me. And after the second letter, Derek told the cops that if they didn't take care of the situation, they'd have a different kind of case on their hands. Quote, this person attacked my family, and where I'm from, if you do that, you get your ass beat.
That's the fucking way, yeah. So, looking at crime statistics, looks like last year, it's they had... Per 1,000 residents, they had 0.20%, and they had 6 crimes.
6 crimes.
That might be for this year. Violent crime for the state of New Jersey. New Jersey averages at 1.68 per 1,000 residents, and this city averages at 0.2. Within the last year, or this might have been like last year, looks like they had 0 murders reported, 3 sexual assaults, 1 robbery, and 2 assaults.
In Westfield specifically?
In Westfield specifically. They had 5 total crimes altogether.
We had 5 crimes in the past hour here.
Past 10 minutes, bro. Not even the past hour.
That city is so unbelievably safe.
There is a high chance that someone tonight is going to get shot within a block away from us.
You're right.
That's just how it is in Portland.
That is true. Yeah, that is just how it is in Portland.
I just haven't decided who it is yet.
Excuse me?
What?
Excuse me?
Barty Bowick.
You can't just switch to Barty Bowick every time I question you.
Barty Bowick.
So, frustrated, the Broadduses began their own investigation. Derek became especially obsessed. He set up webcams in 657 Boulevard and spent nights crouched in the dark, waiting to see if anyone was watching the house at close range. Quote, Maria thought I was crazy.
No.
He did an interview with someone from The Cut magazine where he met them at a coffee shop in Manhattan. He covered the table with documents relating to the case, including copies of the letters, which he and his wife had shared with only a few friends and family members. He showed a map displaying when each of 657's neighbors had moved in. And the Langfords were the only ones that had been there since the 60s. But he also had overlays marking possible sightlines for the easel and the circle for approximate range of earshot to estimate who might have heard Maria yelling their kids' names, and only a few houses fit both criteria. He deep dived into it.
Yeah, I see that.
Which I'm not going to say I don't understand.
No, absolutely not. I would do the exact same thing, except I would do it a little bit differently.
How would you do it?
I would just get my 308 and throw a fucking thermal scope on it and just sit in the window in the dark and just watch.
Well, I mean,
And then the moment the watcher's like, I'm watching you, just rip a fucking 308 through their eyebrow out of the back. It's just like,
well, it does
I don't know what happened. He had a gun. I swear to God.
It does say that he spent nights like just watching from inside the house to see if anyone was watching the house.
Yeah.
And I would assume that there was nobody
I don't know.
that he could at least see. So the Broadduses also turned to several experts. They employed a private investigator who staked out the neighborhood and ran background checks on the Langfords, but didn't find anything noteworthy. Derek reached out to a former FBI agent who had served as the inspiration for Clarice Starling in Silence of the Lambs.
Hello, Clarice.
Since they were on the high school board of trustees together.
What?
Yeah.
Both these guys were together? Oh, my God.
Yeah, the FBI agent and what's his name?
Derek?
Derek.
Yeah.
I wanted to say David.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Whatever.
Apparently, those two are together on the high school board of trustees. They also hired Robert Lenahan, another former FBI agent, to conduct a threat assessment. Lenahan recognized several old-fashioned ticks in the letters that pointed to an older writer. The envelope was addressed to M/M Braddis. The salutations included the day's weather, warm and humid, sunny and cool for a summer day. And the sentences had double spaces between them. The letters had a certain literary panache, which suggested a voracious reader, and a surprising lack of profanity given the level of anger, which Lenahan thought meant a, quote, less macho reader. Maybe he wondered the watcher had seen The Watcher starring Keanu Reeves, who is a serial killer who stalks a detective trying to catch him. As in, like, I don't know. They didn't know what the fuck was happening. Maybe he started getting angrier because more was coming out.
Yeah.
Who the fuck knows?
I don't know.
Lenahan didn't think that the watcher was likely to act on the threats, but the letters had enough typos and errors to imply a certain erraticism, such as the first letter was dated Tuesday, June 4th, but that day was a Wednesday.
Oh, interesting. So he's stupid.
It's a Wednesday, my dude. I'm only full of
Party ballad.
I'm only full of stale Vine memes.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Just so you know.
Okay. Thanks, Tay.
You're welcome.
So.
There was also a, quote, seething anger directed at the wealthy in particular. The watcher was upset by new money moving into town. Quote, Are
you one of those Hoboken transplants who are ruining Westfield?
And by the Broaddus's relatively modest renovations.
The house is crying from all the pain that it is going through. You have changed it and made it so fancy. You are stealing its history. It cries for the past and what it used to be in the time when I roamed its halls. The 1960s were a good time for 657 Boulevard, when I ran from room to room, imagining the life of the rich occupants there. The house was full of life and young blood. Then it got old, and so did my father. But he kept watching until the day he died. And now I watch and wait for the day when the young blood will be mine again.
It's so fucking terrifying. I fucking hate everything about it.
Do you like Limp Bizkit?
No.
For the nookie, the what? The nookie, the what?
Lenahan recommended looking into former housekeepers or their descendants. Perhaps the watcher was jealous that the Broadduses had bought a home that the writer couldn't afford, but the focus remained on the Langfords. In cooperation with the Westfield police, the Broadduses sent a letter to the Langfords announcing their plans to tear down the house, hoping to prompt a response. And nothing happened. So Detective Lugo brought Michael Langford in for a second interview, but got nowhere. And his sister, Abby, accused the police of harassing their family. Eventually, the Broadduses hired Lee Levitt, a lawyer who met with several members of the Langford family, as well as their attorney, to show them the letters, along with photos explaining how their home was one of the few vantage points from which the easel could be seen. The meeting grew tense. Levitt told this interviewer for the cut, and the Langfords insisted that Michael was innocent. One night, Derek had a dream in which he confronted Peggy, who is the mother of Langford, and demanded she build an 8-foot fence between the properties. Such a weird dream.
Yeah, that's a very suburban dream.
You need to build an 8-foot fence.
Your fence is too small. Build it. Build it tall. Let's see it. Let's see the tall fence. Your fence is here. It needed to be here. You know what I'm saying?
You sound like you belong on Rick and Morty right now.
You know, it's just like Rick, I fucking use the fence, Rick, and it needs to be this. No, it's not happening. Okay, fella, just go and move on. Get it out of here. Okay, I'm tired of you watching. Just stop watching. Just build the fence. Build the fence, you fucker. Start building it.
So Maria was having other kinds of dreams. One night she woke up to an especially vivid one about a man who lived nearby. Quote, he was wearing these boots and carrying a pitchfork and calling to the kids, and I couldn't get to them in time. She thought almost anyone could be the watcher, which made daily life feel like navigating a labyrinth of threats. She probed the faces of shoppers at Trader Joe's to see if they looked strangely at her kids, and spent hours Googling anyone who seemed suspicious. There were reasons to consider other suspects. For one thing, the police spoke to Michael before the second letter was sent, which would make sending 2 more especially reckless. The Broadduses say that Lugo told them they wouldn't receive any more letters after he spoke to Michael. That's a broad claim, Lugo.
Yeah, pretty
being
broad.
like, no, you're good now. You're not gonna get any more letters, except for the 2 that you just got. Other than that,
no, listen. You know, it sounds like a pretty Broaddus's way of going about it. You know, because his name is Broad. Get it?
Yes,
Isn't that
I get
funny?
it.
Isn't that a funny play on words? It's a play on words. Play on words. So basically, what I'm saying is, just fucking do a whole half an hour tangent just about the Broadduses.
Yeah.
And how their name has the word broad in it. I'm funny.
You are funny.
Up top. Anyway, let's continue. You thought I was gonna high five you, dude? High five me.
I don't trust you now. You don't get a high five. I don't fucking trust you. You fucking juked me out. Hey, that's my one.
I'll give you your water back if you give me a crisp high five. There you go.
Give me.
All right.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Y'all can't see. If you are listening to just audio, he is harassing me.
Just knocking shit over.
He's trying to act like the cat. He's trying to just knock over my water, take my phone, fuck with the fucking script.
I can pretend to be the cat. Right? I'll just. You guys might have seen the cat on the socials, but basically he's party power. Yeah, basically he's like this. You're like, oh, the cat's here. And
as he tries to knock everything over.
yeah. And what happened next?
So there was the rest of the neighborhood to consider. The private investigator had found 2 child sex offenders within a few blocks. And Bill Woodward, the Broaddus' house painter, had also noticed something strange. The couple behind 657 Boulevard kept a pair of lawn chairs strangely close to the Broaddus' property. Quote, one day, I was looking out the window and I saw this older guy sitting in one of the chairs. He wasn't facing his house. He was facing the Broaddus'.
That's pretty spooky.
This old man is just fucking watching.
Yeah, so I went over there and I was like, what are you doing watching the thing? And then we started kissing.
Oh.
And it started getting saucy.
Oh.
And he said, I'm not the watcher. And I said, I didn't ask.
That's a bit suspicious. So by the end of 2014, the investigation had stalled. The watcher left no digital trail, no fingerprints, no footprints. Is what I wanted to say. He didn't leave those either.
Left no eyebrow impressions and left no teeth marks on the letters. He definitely wasn't driving a gold Ford Fusion. I'm sure of that.
But definitely no footprints. And no way to place someone at the scene of crime that could have been hatched from pretty much any mailbox in northern New Jersey. The letters could be read closely for possible clues or dismissed as the nonsensical ramblings of a sociopath. Quote, it was like trying to find a needle in a haystack. And that is from Scott Krause, who helped investigate for the Union County Prosecutor's Office. In December, Westfield police told the Broaddus' that they had run out of options. And Derek showed the letters to his priest, who agreed to bless the house. The renovations to 657 Boulevard, including a new alarm system, and that was all finished in a few months. But the idea of moving in filled the Broaddus' with overwhelming anxiety. Could they let their kids play outside or have friends over? Would they get a new letter every week? Derek priced out trained German Shepherds and posted a job on a website for military veterans. All you have to do is work out in the backyard every day. But the Broaddus' hadn't bought 657 to feel bunkered in a fortress. Quote, at the end of the day, it came down to, what are you willing to risk? We weren't willing to put our kids in harm's way. Derek had been responding to occasional alarms at the house, sometimes in the middle of the night, just bringing a knife with him just in case. They were so joyous about their new home, but within a few days, they were petrified. So Bill Woodward, the painter, had said, quote, I'm a stranger, and Maria was crying and shaking in my arms. And it didn't help that the watcher seemed to be getting more and more unhinged.
657 Boulevard is turning on me. It is coming after me. I don't understand why. What spell did you cast on it? It used to be my friend, and now it is my enemy. I am in charge of 657 Boulevard. It is not in charge of me. I will fend off its bad things and wait for its good again. It will not punish me, and I will rise again. Be patient and wait for this to pass, and for you to bring the young blood back to me. 657 Boulevard needs young blood. It needs you. Come back. Let the young blood play again like I once did. Yet let the young blood sleep in 657 Boulevard. Stop changing it and let it alone.
Which is odd, because this is after the house was blessed.
Yeah, that's pretty spooky.
It's pretty spooky. So the Broaddus' had sold their old home after they had bought 657 Boulevard. So they ended up moving in with Maria's parents while continuing to pay the mortgage and property taxes on 657 Boulevard. Quote, I had to do things like shovel the driveway. Just picture that little indignity. I'd go at 5 a.m, then come back and do it again at my in-laws. The Broadduses had only told a handful of people about the letters, which left others to ask why they weren't moving in. Legal issues, they said. And everyone was starting to wonder if they were getting a divorce.
Yes.
Legal issues. So, obviously, they're getting divorced. That's how that works.
Mm-hmm.
They fought constantly and started taking medication to fall asleep. Derek had said that he had become a depressed wreck. And Maria had decided to see a therapist after a routine doctor's visit that began with the question, "How are you?" which caused her to burst into tears.
That's a super healthy way to go about it.
Yeah.
So, Mrs. Braddock, how are you?
You know what? I can't even fake cry. I would have to real cry. And
Okay, let's try it. But let's try it backwards, I guess. Oh, got it.
So, Ms. Broaddus, how are you doing?
A cast! I cannot. Oh, no goodness. Oh, no. I don't fucking know.
I'm not as good of an improv actor. Surprise.
Well, I am the comedic improv actor Fred Stewart of the H.G.O. podcast and the Comedy Network. That's what I strive at, is improvisational. Now we're gonna try a little exercise, okay?
Okay.
You're gonna go to New Jersey, okay?
Yeah.
We're in New Jersey,
Yeah.
okay? Need you to write a letter to the Broadduses.
Okay.
Go.
Hello.
Got the Watcher. Episode's done. Just like, see how fucking easy that was? That's all you had to do, man. Party Balak. Yeah.
That got me. So the therapist had said that Maria was suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder that would not go away until they got rid of the house. 6 months after the letters arrived, the Broadduses had decided to sell 657 Boulevard. They initially listed it for more than they paid to reflect the renovations they'd done. But few worlds are more gossipy than suburban New Jersey real estate, and rumors had already begun to swirl where the house sat empty. One broker emailed to say that her client loved it, but there were so many unsubstantiated rumors flying around, ranging from a sexual predator to a stalker, and that they needed to know more. The Broadduses sent a partial disclosure mentioning the letters to interested buyers, told Coldwell Banker, their realtor, that they intended to show the full letters to anyone whose offer was accepted. Several preliminary bids came in well below the asking price, but the Broadduses were not able to take such a financial hit and only wanted to share the letters with likely buyers. No one got that far, even after they lowered the price. A Caldwell agent who hadn't read the letters told them in an email that they were being unnecessarily forthcoming. Quote, "My friend got horrible threatening letters about her dog barking, and she didn't think to disclose." But the Broadduses insisted. Quote, "I don't know how you lived through what we did and think you could do that to somebody else." Derek and Maria thought about what they would have done had the previous owners had told them about the letter from the Watcher. The Woodses, both retired scientists, told the Broadduses that they remembered that the letter they received came as more strange than threatening, thanking them for taking care of the house. They say they never had any issues and they never even felt watched. In fact, they rarely even lock the doors.
Oh, fuck that, dude.
That's how fucking safe this fucking city is.
It's fucking Look, check out the Hots Crazy and Homer shirt. Listen, it's fucking New Jersey. Just don't. No. Lock your doors.
To be fair, they only had 5 crimes in the past year.
Yeah.
So, honestly,
I think that's within this year.
Okay, 5 crimes in 6 months?
Yeah.
Almost?
Yeah.
That's fucking insane. That's still so low.
It's fucking New Jersey. I don't know.
This place is fucking crazy with how safe it is. But the Broadduses had felt that the name alone was ominous enough to merit mentioning to a new family moving in. And on June 2nd, 2015, a year after buying 657 Boulevard, they filed a new legal complaint against the Woodses, arguing that the Woodses should have disclosed the letter just as they had that water sometimes got in the basement. The Broadduses said that they hoped to reach a quiet settlement. Their kids still don't know about the Watcher, and their lawyer assured them that at most a small legal news wire might pick up the story. How fucking wrong were they?
Yeah, really. So I went to look back and go and find this town, and let's see, 2014. This is when this was occurring, right?
Mm-hmm.
There were 217 thefts. There were 49 burglaries, 13 assaults, 8 auto thefts, 6 robberies, 0 murders, 0 arsons, 6 sexual assaults, and that's about it. And then let's see, they've had no murders in the past pre 2007. So pretty safe.
Safe. Honestly, I feel like Portland in one singular day beats out the 2014 year.
Well, I mean, yeah, like let's see if I type in Portland.
It's probably pretty bad.
Portland, Oregon. There it is. So Portlandy. Here's some listings. Let's see. No crime stats.
They said it's too high to count.
Yeah, they said a lot of murders going on here. I'm sure I'll find it. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey.
Goody. What?
29 murders per 100,000 in 2019. So that's pretty cool.
Great.
Man, this place is fucked.
Yeah.
God, who the fuck would live in Portland?
Us.
Oh, fuck. Oh, no. Morty Bowick.
So, quote, "We do some creepy stories," Tamron Hall said on the Today Show a few weeks later. Quote, "This might be top 10 creepy."
This might be top 10 creepy.
A local reporter had found the complaint, which included snippets of the Watcher's menacing threats, and after a belated attempt by the Broadduses to seal it, the story went viral. News trucks camped outside of 657 Boulevard, and one local reporter set up a lawn chair to conduct his own watch. I think we just fucking found the Watcher.
Did he take his pants off? Wait, did it?
I don't think so.
Oh, he should have. This opportunity.
The Broadduses got more than 300 media requests, but with advice from crisis management consultant referred by one of Derek's colleagues, they decided to not speak publicly to spare their kids even more attention. They vacated Westfield and moved to a friend's beach house, where they also didn't find much peace. Maria's grandfather had had a heart attack, and the friend they were staying with had a grand mal seizure.
Jesus, man.
So they did not have... They left Westfield, and it was still just...
Awful?
Awful.
Yeah.
Eventually, Derek and Maria sat down with their children to explain the real reason why they hadn't moved into their home. The kids had plenty of questions, such as who is the Watcher? Where does this person live? Why is this person angry with us? To which Derek and Maria had few answers. Can you imagine trying to have that conversation with a 5-year-old?
I can. I imagine something along the lines of like, so this man's called the Watcher, and he's writing letters because he's mad at us for working on the house. And the 5-year-old's like, well, Father, if you really think about it, isn't the Watcher most likely a neighbor? Maybe someone who's lived in the neighborhood for a very long time. I assume that their penmanship
You sound like you're from Arizona.
Shush. Might be very similar to that of someone from Arizona.
Oh.
Yes, I know. That's what I'm saying. But if, Father...
Yes?
Have we even tried to get handwriting from any of the neighbors?
I mean, I assume the police have done that.
Have we tried?
Maybe. Probably not. No?
I am the watcher.
Oh. So, I mean, they were essentially saying, like, having that conversation with a 5-year-old when your town isn't as safe as you think it is. And then there's a boogeyman just obsessed with you. You don't know who he is, where he is. Like, it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Scares. I imagine that would scare the shit out of a 5-year-old.
Probably.
Personally.
And that's why you give your 5-year-old an AR-15.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. Don't give a 5-year-old AR-15. They're way too big. I'm thinking like an MPX. They're a lot smaller, lumber compact. They fire 9mm, way less recoil. You know, turn them into John Wick.
Oh.
And then they become the watcher.
Oh. So a bunch of people had suggested like a ground penetrating radar to find whatever the watcher claimed was in the walls. Home inspector had already done that and told Derek that the only issue in the aging home was a lack of insulation. A group of Reddit users obsessed with Google Maps Street View showed a car parked in front of 657 that one user thought, quote, a man holding a camera in the driver's seat was in there. More rationally, people saw pixelated glare. The range of proposed suspects included a jilted mistress, a spurned realtor, or a local high schoolers' creative writing project, guerrilla marketing for a horror movie, or mall goths having fun.
Oh, you can't just blame the goths. Goths didn't do shit.
I like that it's particularly mall goths.
Yeah.
Not just like goth as a whole subculture. We got to narrow it down a little bit to mall goths.
Yeah, listen, mall goths didn't do this. You know why?
Why?
Because in reality, they're not going to do all this writing. Instead, they're just going like this. That's all they're doing. That's literally all goths do all the time. Ask your local goth, and they'll confirm that's all they do.
Yeah, it's true. That's all I do, ever.
Yeah, and for those who aren't watching, I was just sliding back and forth like a little goth, like a goth
dance.
shot, like a goth.
Do a little dancey dance.
Little dancey dance.
Some people thought that the Broadduses were wimps for not moving in. Quote, I would never let this sicko stop me from moving into a house. Never back down from a terrorist.
Is this me? Did I write that?
Maybe.
Yeah.
That obviously irked the Broadduses. Quote, none of them have read the letters or had their children threatened by someone they didn't know. To decide this person's only nuts enough to write these letters and to not do something. What if something happened?
Oh, simple. I would just do this. I'd go, hey, Alexa. And they go, ding. And they go, deploy the Claymore Roombas.
Excuse me?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a Roomba with a Claymore on
I know
top.
what it is.
Then
Why do you have it?
What do you mean? Because I'm a fucking patriot? Alexa, deploy the Roombas with 10 pounds of tannerite on top.
Jesus.
What?
What are you talking about?
Are you thinking we're at time?
Yeah, I was just checking to see where we're at.
Might be a shorter episode because you're doing a two-parter.
We could do a two-parter. We could finish this one up and include the next one in maybe next week's episode. But we've got a little bit of time.
Yeah, I mean, we're at an hour and we're about halfway through. So, listeners,
y'all okay with a little bit of a shorter episode?
Doing a shorter episode seems like, but let's at least finish the. Let's at least get down to the the thing here.
Yeah. So in Westfield, people were on edge. Lori Clancy, who teaches piano lessons in her house behind 657 Boulevard, said that one of her students came for a lesson shortly after the news of the watcher broke and started bawling, saying that she was terrified to walk down the boulevard. At first, the Westfield...
Of Broken Dreams?
Yes. The Boulevard of Broken Dreams, yes.
I walk a lonely road, the road, don't know where it goes. The dark watcher's watching me. He's watching me where I go.
So at the Westfield Town Council meeting after the letters became public, Mayor Andy, that's a name, Skibitsky assured the public that the watcher hadn't been heard from in a year, and even though the police hadn't solved the case, their investigation had been exhaustive.
They ate over 400 pounds of donuts sitting on this case, right? It's actually incredible. They worked so they're exhausted from just lifting their coffee to their lips and sitting there and not doing a fucking thing. They're just exhausted.
So the news of an exhaustive investigation had been news to 657's neighbors, most of who had never heard from the cops. Quote, "We are confounded as to how a thorough investigation can be conducted without talking to all the neighbors within proximity to the home." Under the glare of national attention, Baron Chambliss, a veteran detective in the Westfield Police, was asked to look at the case. Quote, "The Broadduses are victims, and I don't think they got the support they needed." No fucking shit.
Yeah, really.
Surprise. The police didn't do anything.
Surprise.
Or they were like, we had not that many crimes. So I figure...
We were so busy doing literally anything else.
Literally. They were like, listen, I know we shot 4 dogs.
Listen,
and
we
2 lizards.
we had 15 officer-involved shootings, and 14 and a half of those were related with animals. So
it's just, yeah. And then
you're not gonna question that statistic at all?
No.
How 14 and a half out of 15 was animal related? Okay.
I'm not. What's the half?
I had a whole nother bit.
What's the half?
Well, now it's not as funny.
Well, now I'm curious.
Well, always watching. It was on Halloween. It was a kid dressed as a fucking alligator, and they thought it was a real alligator, so they shot him, and they realized that it was actually an alligator dressed as a kid.
Oh, that's a whole. It's like what is those
Watcher.
Russian dolls? Fucking Russian dolls.
The Watcher.
Chambliss, who has since retired, had spoke of the initial investigation. Chambliss knew that his colleagues had looked closely at Michael Langford. According to his brother, Sandy Langford, Michael had been diagnosed with schizophrenia as a young man. He sometimes spooked newcomers to the neighborhood when he did strange things, like walk through the backyard or peek into the windows of homes that were being renovated. But those who knew him said that the odd things that he did were mostly just usual neighborly kindness. A man who lives next door, John Schmidt.
John Jacob
Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Yes.
He goes out, said that Michael would go out and get the newspaper for him every morning. People who had known Michael for decades said that they didn't think that he was capable of writing the letters.
Hey, I've never seen him write a letter. I've never heard him even talk about paper, so it couldn't be him.
As Chambliss looked into the case, he discovered something surprising. Investigators had eventually conducted a DNA analysis on one of the envelopes and determined that the DNA belonged to a woman, not a man.
Wow. That's crazy.
This is also in 2014. We had the capability.
Yeah.
But I like that it says they eventually conducted DNA.
Well, I mean, it's fucking New Jersey police. What do you want from there and that,
I almost want to say we could pause it there on a little bit of a cliffhanger.
Yes.
About the letter coming from a woman.
The letter comes from a woman, but was there a DNA match? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z.
That's not what people are watching.
drag some balls on the Z. What the fuck? What?
What is happening?
Barty Powick. Yeah, it's gonna be a little shorter episode today. Sorry, y'all, but we're gonna try to,
okay.
I'm working on, listen. Listen. Don't tell them it's okay. You're not. You're not the listener. They're the listener.
It's an hour 10.
They're the listener.
It's not too bad.
Are you trying to fucking gaslight the listener?
No.
Fuck you. Keep reading. I'm speaking for them now. No, it's not okay.
I'm being
Barty
fucking bullied. I'm being fucking bullied again.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little short episode. I'm working on a couple different series right now. One of them is gonna be as some podcasts would say, a gold star episode. It's gonna be very graphic and very intense, and we'll probably cry again.
Probably.
So that's cool. Big fan of that. Marty's on a field trip. Barty Bowick's here with us.
Barty Bowick is taking his place.
Yeah. Like a fucking bird. But it's we got some really cool stuff planned. And also, what do you guys think? I printed these up a while ago. Hans Graves and Omens. It's a little mountain skiing. I got a UFO right here. Hold on, it's because the camera's flipped. UFO. You guys have also probably seen the Ouija board one. If you guys are interested in shirts, let us know on our socials. At Hans Graves and Omens on Facebook, HGOPodcast on Instagram and TikTok. If you want to follow me directly, you can follow me right here at I Hunt the Haunted. Want to see a funny little trick? Watch. Why do I reach up? Hold on. Let me reach up and grab it. Okay, I bring it over to my mouth like this, and then I go. It's gone. Just like that. Follow me at I Hunt the Haunted on Instagram, TikTok, all that fun stuff. To passing it off to Tay.
Hello. You can follow me at Lunar Thrill, which is on the screen, right? Right there. You can follow me there on Instagram and TikTok. Those are the only social media that I really use.
Let me just go ahead and grab this right here and just bring this up and say, there it is.
It's gone.
And you can follow Marty Cowick, who's not Barty Bowick, at Ghetto Feather or Motherfuckers Apocalypse. Hey, also check out my new band. We haven't released anything yet, but you can follow us on Facebook at the time at The Death of You. The Death of You. It's metal. It's going to be sick. Check it out. I'll kiss you on the lips. But until next time, stay spooky.
Stay haunted.
And we're watching.
Oh.
Always watching Mike WAZOWSKI.
Always watching.
Always watching Mike WAZOWSKI. Always watching. Always watching.
Oh.
All right, bye.
Bye.